to An Emo Girl's Guide to the Galaxy, where we debate, rant, and curse too much. If you like books, sarcasm, and hate the patriarchy, then you've come to the right place.
Hey, I'm Jess, and I'm going to talk to you about your new releases for this week. So the first one is Dream On by Angie, Hockman, and it's a rom-com. And I'm just going to read the blurbs for these. In this fresh romantic comedy from the author of Shipped, heralded as an absolutely sparkling debut by Entertainment Weekly, a woman wakes up from a car accident with memories of a boyfriend she's never met, only to run into him a year later. Perfect for fans of Christina Lauren and Rebecca Searle, which is kind of fun.
Okay, I'm so into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next book is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, who did that one sci-fi YA book that I can't remember. Something
Heart of Iron. I just looked it up.
Heart of Iron. There you go. Beautiful. Love it.
She also did the Geekerella books.
Oh, okay. So these are rom-com. This is a rom-com, and it is a disillusioned millennial ghostwriter who quite literally has some ghosts of her own and has to find her way back home in the sparkling adult debut from Ashley Poston. So that's like ghosts. I'm sold. A disillusioned millennial. You got me. I'm sold. All right. The next one is The Summer of Christmas by Juliet and Keith Giglio. Why am I thinking of Deuce Bigalow? Whatever. Okay. This is a rom-com. Experience a behind-the-scenes look at the making of a Christmas movie in July in this charming romantic comedy. And it's a married couple that wrote these, or their brother-sister. I'm thinking probably married, but maybe their brother-sister.
Sounds very Hallmarky.
I'm here for it because we need happiness in our lives right now, and honestly, that sounds excellent.
I didn't say that was a bad thing.
It's beautiful. Okay, so the last one I have for today is The Witchery by S. Isabelle. This is a YA fantasy, and it says, meet your new favorite squad of witches. The Witchery by S. Isabelle is filled with dark magic, bewitching prose, and enchanting characters. It has everything I love in a book, badass witches, a kiss of romance, and a touch of horror. That sounds excellent. And this comment is from Aiden Thomas, who wrote Cemetery Boys. So, sold. Done. Yeah.
That's
I'm here for it.
That's enough for me.
I mean, I'm not big on YA, but this sounds, badass witches.
Exceptions.
Ready for it. Let's do it.
All right. I'm Loretta, and we're going to do our Around the Room updates now. So I'll go first. I haven't really done a whole lot, but I have started reading A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole, and it's very cute so far. I'm not that far in, but I like it a lot. And Nintendo is having a big sale right now.
Yes.
And I bought... I'm weirdly obsessed with all of the Lego video games, and I don't know why. I started playing them like years and years ago, and I just never stopped. Like the Lord of the Rings one and the Star Wars one, but there's a new Star Wars one out, and I got the Harry Potter one and the Jurassic Park one, so I've really just gone down a weird nostalgia rabbit hole, and I've been playing those.
Lego
so
games?
That's what I've been up to. Yeah, playing Lego video games. Like the adult woman I am.
Whatever brings you joy is what we need right now.
Yeah. So who else? Jess, what have you been up to?
Okay, so I have a lot of things because I haven't said anything in a while. I read 5 of those Alien Bride Lottery books that Dev recommended. I read 5 of them.
Oh, yeah.
In like 2 days. I just
You did, yeah. You
binged. Was the rest of the series as good as the first one?
It just was amazing. Honestly,
I
didn't even want to stop. The last one that I read, the main character girl is in a wheelchair, and she is a badass, and I just love that they like brought some representation up to the Alien Bride Lottery, and they're trying to dismantle the whole system, and it's like there's an ongoing overall arc that I didn't quite know was there, and they're just trying to bring down the patriarchy, and it's really great.
That's on brand.
Living for it.
It's on brand.
Also, to point out the Easter egg, when Jess says she read the rainbow, she's being literal because the aliens are all different colors.
And yellow and green, and I read all
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna have to, like, bring back a little bit of my criticism about the Alien books. I'm a little more on board than I was before, guys. I read...
Yeah, everyone needs to go back and listen to the Alien episode when we talk about the mating dicks and the coexisting.
Yeah, that part did get me, but honestly, we learn to live with regular dicks. We can learn to live with weird ones. The other thing, I've been binging a lot.
Wait, I have a question. I have a technical question about the double dicks.
Oh yeah, I'm here to help.
Since there's a mating dick,
yes,
do they use the regular dick at all? Like,
oh yes, okay. So here's what happens, and this is in all of them. Okay, and there is some big drama that happens.
Like once
in
they
one of
find
them.
the girl that's their
Yeah.
mate,
Yes, their mate. Then it pops out.
Here's what happens.
Yes,
only
their mate gets.
But do
the
they use
mating
both?
dick.
Yes. So they have.
It's like
sex.
a lipstick tube,
right? But no, I don't know. Okay, so it's really one dick, right? So one dick goes in, they have sex for the first time, it's their regular dick. At that point, after that first orgasm, the dick retracts into their body. Or it comes out, right? So then all of a sudden another one comes in. But it's essentially like, the way that I think of it is like the lid comes off and here's the new one, but it's bigger. So it's almost like the skin retracts and then a new one comes in.
Yeah, I envisioned it popping out of the first one.
Fun fact.
That's how it
in the first book, this is not mentioned. The mating dick is actually purple on all of them. All of them have
How are we back
purple
to this?
mating dicks. And regardless of their color, so they could be like a pink and purple, they could be a yellow and purple, but all the mating dicks are purple, regardless of the color of the alien.
I hate it.
Yeah, I need to read the rest of the series. I don't
know why when you guys talk about it, I have a hard time not thinking about the double dicks as two separate dicks.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
Keep
in
forgetting
fact,
that they're one.
Well, they do keep talking about it that way, but it is really just like one, and then something pulls back.
Yeah, it shoots out.
Well, but it's not like, it doesn't like extend out. It like the one.
I
it feels like a banana.
The one retracts, like the skin comes down, and then this one enlarges after like its condom is gone. Essentially, think of condom, but like if the condom went like this, I don't know why.
The way that they explain it in the first book is not like aggressively weird though. He's just like, oh yeah, you're the first, like you're the only one who's going to experience the mating dick.
Book 2, there are a tremendous number of conversations about the mating dick. So just
Okay, I need to go back and reread
But for everybody who's only listening to this because you're not seeing me do my wonderful hand motions, you're really missing out. I can't even do it again. So I am doing more things than that. I did read all 5 of those. I then also read all 3 of the Dark Olympus that are out, the Neon Gods, Electric Idol, and Wicked Beauty, and they were super fun. So you should go read them. Yeah, they were fun.
And you also read a ton of Mafia books too.
I did. I read 4 or 5. I can't even remember. I've read a lot, honestly. My Goodreads goal is so far behind me, I don't even need to read for a while, which, like, I will, but I'm okay with it. I also read some serious, okay, this is the one last thing. And I know I sent it to you guys in the chat, but for everybody who just really needs a perplexing laugh, go to this Instagram account that is Siblings or Dating.
Oh.
And it is all of these people.
Oh yeah, that was real weird.
Who basically look like twins, and then you swipe through the picture carousel and you find out
I was
they're
wrong
siblings or
almost
dating.
every time.
I know. I was like, oh, those are definitely twins.
It made me feel real icky.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if everybody should take some DNA tests. Honestly. All right. That's what I've been up to.
All right. I'll go next. I finished It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey and loved it. I've been like seeing it around.
It looks so good.
Yeah, and I don't know why I was like interested. I've had it for a while, and I was like, I don't know, I'll read it eventually. And then I was at the beach, and I was like, this seems like it could be a good beachy read, and it was so good. It's very it's like I think they were telling it as like or describing it as like a Schitt's Creek retelling kind of. She's like an LA party girl, Instagram famous socialite, and she gets like shipped off to this. She's in her late 20s, but she gets like basically cut off by her stepdad and shipped off to this like crab fishing town in Washington where her birth father was from, and then like they lived there, and then he like died. Basically, it's like it's like Schitt's Creek meets like a perfect storm. So it's like there's this history of like these like crab fishermen. I guess it's like the most dangerous job. And then the mom's like, don't fall in love with anyone because they're too rough and scary. I don't even know, but obviously
famous last word.
Yeah, you're gonna die by crab.
And it was just,
you had to say it, Mom.
Yeah, it was just really well done. I liked the characters and the relationship, and like easily that girl could have been like a super annoying character, but it was well done. I liked it a lot. And then there's like build up for the second book is like going to be the sister and the other guy, the other like fisherman guy.
That sounds cute.
Yeah, it was super cute, and the smut was good. I liked it. So
we love good smut.
There was nothing super cringy. No overuse of the word folds, which I was burnt out.
Oh God!
So it was really good. Highly recommend it. I've already got the second one queued up because it was just so perfect. I love it. I loved all of it. So yeah,
that's great.
Who's next, Dev? What have you been up to?
Dev, bring it home.
Yeah. So I finished a few arcs, and one of them was Our Crooked Heart. So at the time of recording, this book is already out now, so you should go buy it. But it is by Melissa Albert, who wrote The Hazelwood, I think. I haven't read that one yet. This is my first Melissa Albert book, but it was so good. It's a witch book, but the story is focused on a mother-daughter relationship, which I thought was really nice because you don't really see those types of relationships in a lot of media. It's mostly like romance, but it's told from different POVs. So you start off in present day time with the daughter, and then something happens. And then you go back in time and you see the POV from the mom's when the mom is young, and it builds up. So the daughter is trying to like solve this mystery. She's like, my mom's a witch. What's going on? Like, cool. And then you see the mom when she's younger becoming a witch and leaning into her powers. And then it all kind of like peaks at this moment of like the antagonist and how she's related to everything. And it was just really good. It's like The Craft, but kind of scarier. Like there's
The Craft
like
meets Gilmore Girls.
It's like it was like the Craft meets Gilmore Girls if the Gilmore Girls were emo and gritty and not like hippie.
Yeah.
That sounds even better.
Dig it.
And it's like, it follows the trajectory of like every witch movie out there, like horror movie where there's like an evil witch and then it's like present day and you're like, what's going on? How is this like evil witch from the past connected to everything? But it's just like, I was obsessed with it, so everybody needs to go read Our Crooked Hearts.
I'm so down for
it's really
this.
good.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
It was really good. I'm also listening to the new Charlie Puth song on repeat.
It's so good.
It has
Jungkook.
It has Jungkook from BTS in it, and Charlie Puth, like as a person, I find very odd. Like I laugh at some of his stuff, but he just seems like a weirdo. Like not. Sometimes in a bad way, but most of the time in a good way.
90% of the time, I think he's funny, and then sometimes I'm like, what?
I don't know how to feel about him. Like I don't know. But anyway,
I blame the BuzzFeed article I read about him. That's when he talked about like his losing his virginity and stuff, and I was like, bro, I don't need to know this stuff.
He's kind of wild, but that song is just so good. And if you're into poppy, like, you know, make you happy songs,
Jungkook is so cute.
On
you
repeat.
know, he does have some songs that just like hit me real hard in the feels, and I'm like, this just gives me such good vibes. And so
I know.
I hate that people can be so weird or like you don't know if you like them or not when like their art really bonds to you. It's just such a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel, yeah. I'm just like, I don't know about Charlie Puth, like, I don't know if we would be friends, but
I'm here for your music.
I'm gonna listen to this anyway.
Feel some kind of way. Yeah.
Also, everyone needs to watch the music video because Jungkook does emo better than all of us, and I don't understand
He wears
how.
bright neon
like,
pink and he's still emo, and I don't understand.
He has
He's
his,
so
like,
cute.
hand tattoos and his eyebrow piercing and his lip ring, and I'm just like...
Stop it.
It works, and I'm jealous that you can make all this work wearing a pink tracksuit, and I don't know, but it does, so...
You know...
My spiel on...
Sounds great.
I don't know, it works. Alright, but I'll stop talking about BTS and Charlie Puth and we can get into our main topic, which feels relevant to world news. We're gonna...
The world is shit.
Take things down a notch. We are talking about dystopian and apocalyptic books today. Which I did some research because I was like, I don't know. I know that I've read them, but I want to know exactly what the genre is. And I just went down a hole of like the differences between apocalypse and dystopia, and then like apocalypse, pre-apocalypse, post-apocalypse, and then like all of the different definitions and what goes into it. So they're actually very... There's subtle differences between all of them, but I feel like people use them interchangeably, so I want to like do some education here.
I'm glad you're doing this. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing this because I was making my list of books for this episode and I was having a real hard time. I was like, does this count? Like, some books I was like, does this count as apocalyptic or is it just like sci-fi future or I don't know. Yeah. So...
It's because sometimes they do mix them, like an apocalyptic event leads to a dystopian society, in which case it would be both, right? Like, that's usually, like, the chain of events.
Like, Ready Player One, I was like, is that an apocalyptic book, or is it just, like, the future?
Yeah. So, the differences are that a dystopia genre and books in a dystopian environment setting are... when things are operating in a certain way and everything is just as bad as it can get, right? So like a social or political struggle or like society against the rules that are happening or like things are just as bad as they possibly can get, but the world is still turning, society is still a thing, like nothing about the world or about like the environment has changed. It's just that control has shifted so much that you're living in a world that is just like unimaginable, right? So this would be like The Handmaid's Tale. This would be Hunger like Games. Let me see what my list on here.
Red Rising.
Hunger Games, yes.
Red Rising is sci-fi.
Red Rising, maybe
because it's after a massive war that they turned into these different societies and
exactly.
People.
So it's a post-apocalyptic dystopia,
right?
Yes, and so dystopia is. You live in a world where everything is as bad as it can possibly be, but nothing has triggered those events that has to do with, like, nature or the world ending or society ending the way that you knew it, right? You still have all of the things that you grew up with. They're just restricting who can do it. An apocalyptic book is... or a series or a TV show, anything that's apocalypse is usually the struggle of society or man versus nature or versus some type of event that's cataclysmic that ends the way that you live as you know it. And if it's an apocalypse, it means that when you're reading it or when you're viewing it or whatever, when you're taking this information in, the apocalypse is happening right now. You're witnessing these events triggering. So these are like all of the doomsday movies, right? Like all of the things that happen where there's ice and the world ends in like a huge wave, or there's like, you know, you're witnessing the apocalypse happen.
What's that one with
post-apocalypse? Yeah, there's like
the day after tomorrow.
Post-apocalyptic is you didn't see the apocalypse happen. They just mention it and they say, yeah, there was like a meteor, there was like a bomb, and society was wiped out, and we now rebuilt it, and you're witnessing the world after the apocalypse happened and how they're living after everything, all of the natural disasters happen. That's usually when the dystopia and apocalypse stuff crosses, is when you're witnessing after the apocalypse happened and then seeing all of the bad people who are like, we're going to take advantage that society is crumbled and we're going to take over and now everybody's going to live in the way that we want the world to be, and then see what happens and go from there. But I thought that was interesting because the apocalypse also usually, it's like either nature or it's religious in a type of way, because it's all about like the angels coming down and like wreaking havoc because society like ruined life, right? So like the Four Horsemen, like Laura Thalassa is apocalyptic in like an angelic nature. Oh,
that's on my list.
Or like supernatural. Supernatural is also like, if you think about certain seasons or certain episodes, that's kind of in that realm. So those are, I don't know. I'm a nerd, I guess. I just thought it was interesting, and I'm like, now I know the difference between dystopia, apocalypse, post-apocalypse, and all of that goes into it, and like how we view things in that setting. And I'm like, wow, I just like doomsday stuff. Like, I just like to read about the earth being bad, I guess.
I had a bunch of books that I was like, I don't know if this counts or not.
I had a hard time.
Well, we can discuss. But yeah, so anyway, that's my spiel. So now kick it off and throw it to whoever wants to start with their list.
Okay, I want to do this one that I have because it's up on my phone. Unless you want to go, Erin, and then you can go.
You can go.
Okay, so the one that I have is Something Blue by Christina Cole, and it's a dystopian romance. And I read this like in 2018, I want to say, so my brain's not fully.
I think I own this, and I never read it.
It's a cute little book. It looks like a romance book. It's got like a picture of a blue heel on it. And it's like a matchmaking dystopian one where they're in this world later on, and the way that they've been finding matches is the jigsaw puzzle, and it's basically like taken over. It's kind of like, there's been TV shows about this. They've taken over like matching people, so you have to wait for your perfect match, and then they will find their person for you, and everybody knows, and they're assigned. And when she's assigned her person, it's a guy who's like, I don't believe in this crap. Anarchy everywhere. Let's go. And she's like, this is not the perfect future I wanted. And so it's like them working through, like, she figures out that the whole thing is a scam, and they're literally just randomly matching people and telling them their match. And by the end of it, they're like actually
okay. I kind of love that.
So it's really, yeah, no, it's like all the things that I love in a book. So it was fun. That was by Christina Cole. So it's called Something Blue because it's just, you know, cheesy. But there's your cheesy, happy-ish dystopian book, because we're probably going to spiral from here into Doomsday.
Yeah, we'll start off with the good stuff that's like happy, and then we'll go into like all of the war revolutionary stuff like the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games, I think, sparked my love for this genre or these genres, because like I have a lot on my list.
I think it's so interesting because most of my list is like YA
I was gonna
books.
say that.
And I think it's so interesting that like the end of the world books are for younger, like are being geared towards younger people. I don't know. That seems really weird to me.
I think it makes sense in a way though, because when you're younger, you're more impressionable, and so they want you to read like what can happen if you let
That's true.
society get to this point. Like,
yeah.
you want to be the revolutionary.
You can fix it.
Yeah.
But they're not old enough to realize that, like, hey, maybe we already are in a dystopian society.
Oh, wait, it's here.
Oh, no.
There's that whole we don't have rights thing happening, so.
Yeah,
good times.
Good times.
I love it.
You guys mentioned The Four Horsemen by Laura, what's the Lassa?
Lord.
Yes.
The Lhasa.
I cannot with that series. I just cannot. I read the first one and just...
I'm weirdly fascinated with those books. I need to finish.
Yeah.
I only read the first one. I need to finish the series.
I cannot.
The concept is interesting. I think it was just the execution of the things that happen is kind of weird. Like, I am fascinated with the thought of like, humans have free will. There are these angels who, like, they only have one job. They have one job to start the apocalypse, and then they come down and they're like, oh, humans are actually not that bad. Like, maybe we can change it. Maybe, you know, this was fate and plan and, you know, divine intervention all along. Like, that is interesting, but, like, I don't want to be dragged by a horse.
She falls in love with the plague, bro.
The fucking plague.
She falls in love with the plague.
I like can appreciate like Laura Thalassa's a dark.
It's like a magical power,
too,
Loretta.
No, it's not.
Yeah. We're all here for the angel apocalypse, but I'm also here for zombie apocalypse. And after I was writing my list, I have so many. If you're a zombie person like me, let me just go into this because I have so many.
I do not like zombie apocalypse.
I love zombie apocalypse stuff. It's so good. Also, if you think about it, zombies can never actually exist that long in real life. Like, it's decaying bodies.
True.
Like, they'll decay eventually, and then they'll just be done. Like, zombies can't, at least right now, in my mind, scientifically, ever really exist. So,
Dr.
like, I'm gonna enjoy it for what it is.
That if something is contagious enough, it will wipe us all out before the decaying bodies go to dust.
That's true, too.
But if we're saying that, if we're going by, like, normal zombie lore, which is you have to be bitten in order to be infected, then, like, I'm fine. I'm just like, you're fine. But World War Z is a really good one. It is a book and also a movie, I think.
But those ones are fast zombies, right? They're, like, really fast.
Those freak me out.
Yeah, those zombies are, like,
superpower?
different types of zombies. But yeah, there's, like, a plot twist about why the zombies only go after specific people and, like,
I'm gonna Google the plot twist.
It gets into it. It's, like, more scientific than, like, zombie. But the author wrote another, like, I don't know if it's a spin-off or like attached, like, you know, type of book, but it's called The Zombie Survival Guide. And it's just so fun. Like, it just goes through, like, all kinds of different weapons and, like, would they work against a zombie or not. And I let a man, of course, it was a man, borrow my copy, and I never got it back. And if you're listening to this, just know that I'm still holding a grudge against the fact that I never got my book back. But yeah, if you want a survival guide against zombies, like, there's a book out there for you. So you can start preparing for the zombie apocalypse. The Walking Dead graphic novels, also a TV show. I stopped watching, like, after season 5, I think, but, like, the graphic novels are good. The show strays from the novels a lot after a certain point, so I would say, like, if you were annoyed by the show, like, read the graphic novels, because they do change a lot of things, and, like, the fate of certain characters is different, but that is also a good zombie one. Resident Evil games, movies, I eat that up. Like, give me all of the Resident Evil content. I'm obsessed with it. Alive, which is on Netflix, is also like a plague virus zombie type of Korean drama movie. Train to Busan.
Oh my god, I've been told to watch
drama
that.
About zombies. It's so good. I love it. Sweet Home is also Korean drama. Like, the Korean dramas about zombies, they're just so good. And I don't know what it is and what they do differently than, like, Americans, but they're just next level. But Sweet Home is actually, like, half zombie, half virus plague going on. Like, there's, like, a weird, like, you don't know what the sickness is. You just know that people are going crazy. Daybreak is an American Netflix show, and that one's more of a comedy. It follows, like, teenagers, and they have their little, like, cliques of zombie fighters. You have, like, the popular kids fighting zombies, and then, like, the nerds fighting zombies. And there's only one season, but it was so funny, and, like, the main character is trying to, like, find his way back to his crush, I think, and then, like, there's, like, they go into a mall, and there's zombies running around, but that one's fun. All of Us Are Dead is also a Korean drama on Netflix, and it takes place in a high school. So that one's also really good. And I think that's all for my zombie. I
struggle with zombie apocalypse because I just feel like what is the chance for a happy ending? Like, certain apocalyptic books and, like, dystopian books, like, if they can, like, rise up and, like, fight the government and overthrow the power, then there's, like, that hope for a better future. But I just feel like with zombies, like, you're all just gonna get eaten, and then it's like you're just surviving to then live in a zombie world. Like, I don't think I want to live, like, unless there's a real chance that we could, like, get rid of the zombies, beat the zombies, cure people, then it's just like the odds are against us.
They all touch on those points, though, but I think that the reason why movies and TV shows especially never actually get to the end is because they want to extend it as much as possible. Yeah. But going into them, you know that that's their main focus. They're like, this virus is spreading. Right. How do we stop it? And that's, like, the whole goal of, like, okay, get a zombie, let's go and, like, test it out and figure out what we need to do, and hopefully we don't get bitten. One
where, like, most of the people don't die, or they actually save.
World War Z has a good ending. It has an ending where there is a solution to the zombie problem.
What's that movie with Will Smith, and it's like the apocalypse?
I Am Legend.
Oh my god, that movie was so depressing.
They
were like rabies zombies or something. I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah, and he has to, like, kill his dog or something, and it's all tragic.
Oh. Yeah.
And he's, like, the only person left on the planet.
And he's, like, fighting to get to this compound or something, and, like, that's all the movie's about. He's like, I just want to make it to this compound.
Okay, wait. A zombie movie that I do love is, what's the one with the guy from The Social Network and Woody Harrelson?
It's Zombieland.
Oh, I love that movie.
I was just going to say.
That was so fun.
When they're in the bathroom and they're like, you got to be really careful when you're taking a shit.
Yeah.
Or I'll just get at you.
When they say double tap, I say that all the time when I'm watching action movies and stuff. I'm like, he didn't double tap.
Yes. And then who's the guy from Ghostbusters that's in it? Why can't I think of his name right now?
Bill Murray.
And then Bill Murray's, like, pretending to be a zombie, and then they get him.
That is
I need to watch the second one.
I really enjoyed that one.
It's funny.
I hate zombie movies, but that movie cracks me up.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen the second one yet.
And Warm Bodies.
Yeah, Warm Bodies.
I haven't seen that one.
You guys might like iZombie.
I
love
that
that
one has
show.
zombies, but it's
I
like,
watched
Yeah,
part
we
of
talked
that.
about that. Because she eats the brains, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, and she has like psychic visions of the
Yeah.
people's brains that she's eating, and she has solves mysteries.
I started watching that show because the guy who made it made Veronica Mars, and I'm obsessed with Veronica Mars. And I love that show, and I feel like the only person that
I
watched it.
I watched
Because people
it.
are like,
I
oh,
don't
you
remember
watched
part
all
of it.
I don't know if I ever saw the end, but I watched a lot of it. I need to go back and watch it.
Okay.
But I also
Yeah.
wanted to watch that zombie movie or that show with Drew Barrymore, where she becomes a zombie and she's like a real estate.
Oh
Like
yes, Santa Clarita Diet.
Yes.
I freaking love that show. They can't. Oh,
Yeah.
I will never get over the fact that that show has 5 gold stars on Netflix and they canceled it. It's so freaking good. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed.
Netflix cancels all
They
the good
do.
shit.
That one is not apocalypse or dystopian.
It's
It's
just
just it's
zombies.
so funny. And what's his face? The dude who plays her husband is
I
so
love
good in
him.
that show, and also the next door neighbor. The next door neighbor just like makes the show. He's so nerdy and awkward and funny, and he's obsessed with their daughter. And I'm just like, oh yes,
love it.
watch it. I'm obsessed with it.
Timothy
Yes,
Oliphant fan.
he
I
is
love
really
him.
good in that
He's fun.
show. I also do have another zombie book series, but this is for like middle grade, younger kids, and it's just really fun and funny, and it's not meant to be.
Young kids.
Yes,
zombies.
it's not meant to be about the zombies. It's meant to be about the kids, like, you know,
surviving. The
like
zombies?
figuring. Kind of, but it's more just like fun. Like they fight the monsters with their bats and stuff like that. It's called The Last Kids on Earth. They actually made a animated show, I think, on Netflix based off of the series.
Oh.
And it's more just like I said, fun. But if you're into that, I am. I'm
If
obsessed
we're
with all
talking
of it.
apocalypse, I just had like flashbacks a little bit ago to early quarantine when everybody was watching Bird Box. Were we watching that in quarantine, or was it before quarantine? The last 5 years are
I
all
don't
blended
know.
together.
What's
Bird
that?
Box with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
on Netflix, and everybody
yeah, that was
was
around
like,
that
"We've
time."
got to
Yeah.
watch Bird Box," and they're all going outside,
I
and
never
nobody
saw
knows
it.
what's. Oh, you got to watch it just because it's weird as
crazy.
hell,
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
and it's really weird, and you just feel so bad at the end. But like,
Isn't she blind? Doesn't she like lose her sight or something?
no, she purposefully does this because when people see whatever it is, that's when they get like crazy and they try to kill. They kill themselves. They're all killing themselves, and nobody knows why it's like.
and then there's
mass
like weird
suicides.
ones that are like forcing other people to kill
yeah,
themselves.
forcing other people to kill themselves. And
It's weird. It is like it is.
Yeah, that's
it's so weird, but it's
insinuating-
very apocalyptic.
But there's an insinuation that it's like aliens.
Yeah, but you just like you never find out, so
Yeah,
don't
you
get
don't
too
know what it
excited.
is. It's
I'm pretty sure that was a book too. I think it's a book first.
What's that one? Cloverfield. Is it Cloverfield where you never find out?
I don't.
what it
I
is,
don't know.
what it was at the
Cloverfield. I'm
end?
pretty
I don't
sure
know.
that's like aliens for a fact,
Okay.
but I'm not 100%.
Because that came out when I was in high school, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest show ever." I'm like,
Yeah, I remember everyone raving about that
I don't
one.
know that it's that good, but you know, I also came out in Blair Witch time, so
My like first dystopian book that I read that I was like obsessed with that I still love. I think this is on your list too, Dev. Is The Giver. I love that book so much, and I had to read that like early in school.
Yeah, I remember reading that in like
Blew me
elementary
away.
school, like 5th
Yeah.
grade. And
I think so,
a lot
for
of
me
the,
too.
like, Loretta was saying, like, a lot of the stuff that I had to read was in high school and middle school, and I was like, why are they making
so
my
weird.
16-year-old self read, like, 1984? Okay.
Yeah, I had to read that probably even younger.
I
I,
know.
read that early high school. I read, and I loved that.
We
I
didn't have
loved
to read that
too.
one.
I loved 1984.
Yeah, I also like Brave New World, which is another, like, classic dystopian novel
That's on
that
my
I have.
list. I keep meaning to pick it up, and I haven't yet. But
Handmaid's Tale also. I read Handmaid's Tale within the last few years, I think, for the first time. And it is slow. Like, it does take a while to read. I will caveat with that, but I think everybody should read it. Like, it's very...
how does it end?
Timely?
Like on like a
Appropriate.
positive note or a negative note?
well, there's
or-
another one now.
It's kind of just the way that you would think any dystopian apocalyptic book ends, what you
Yeah.
were saying, where it's open-ended and there is like a resolution to the main problem, but there isn't a resolution to the fact that you live in a terrible
Yeah.
world. Like it's kind of just
Wow.
like this is what's gonna happen, ladies.
I'm scared to read that one because I'm afraid it'll freak me out.
I've been really nervous about it.
That's where we're headed.
All the women are named after their men, so like they don't have their original names anymore. Like the main girl's name is of Fred, I think, of Fred, and you're like of Fred, the man Fred. That's your name now, of Fred. Like you don't have. Yeah, it's just.
I think it's not the right time for me to read that. And I also I never had any interest in watching the show. I was like, that's just going to enrage me. That's not good entertainment for me personally. Yeah. I get why people love it, but I cannot.
I have to say, like, I was going to get into it and I was like, oh, I need to read this. It's timely, blah, blah, blah. But then I saw a lot of stuff about how as important as it was or whatever for the time, it's also placing white women in a place where, like, it's centralizing white women's issues in a issue that is literally happening with people of color right now. And that kind of lifestyle and them, you know, being forced into surrogacy or forced into having babies, and they're the majority of who's being, like, just not able to get out of that place. That's is true. Like centralizing white women in the story when that's actually happening to people of color. And so it's like taking the issue away from them. And so I decided not to read it because that opened my eyes to something where I think it's important for everybody to see that this is something that could be happening, but also decentralize ourselves a little bit. But I haven't read it, so I really don't know.
From what I remember, and I read it a while ago, so I don't have all of the clear details, but I don't believe she makes it a point to say that they're all white. Like, I think that was a show, and it may have been the movie decision. Yeah. So the show, which, like, just calls into account the fact that, like, our media and entertainment and our world just needs to be better about inclusion. Like, they could have easily changed the color of the skin when they made the show, but they decided not to. They decided not to cast women of color. They decided to cast white women. But I don't believe that race or skin color plays any big effect or plays any big role in the book itself. Like, the book itself talks about the fact that women are oppressed. Something happened in the world, I forget what they mentioned, but where most of the population can't have kids now, which is why they have forced surrogacy. Like, it's not just because they decided one day, we're gonna have a group of women who need to have babies. Like, there is an event that takes place and that makes you sterile, and they're like, only these people can have kids, and we need to make sure that we keep the population going. So now we're gonna take all of the women who can have kids and just, like, force them into having babies, and they don't even have their own names and all of this other stuff. But it's like I said, it's slower, it's a little bit dense, it's dark, but I feel like it's relevant, so.
During this conversation, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but talking about apocalypse, I wanted to recommend watching The Nevers because that show is so trippy.
That show is so good. Really trippy. We can't say anything else because it'll ruin
I know, I can't, like, talk about it because it'll give it away, but it fits in with this episode, and you need to watch to find out how.
Yeah. It's so good. And at first, you're gonna go into it being like, what's going on? And you're gonna feel that way for a while, but just know that it'll pay off. Like, sitting there and watching it and like seeing it all unfold, it's so good.
I was watching the show, and then it was like episode 4 or 5, I don't know, like halfway through the season, I started watching it, and I thought I put on the wrong show. I was like, oh my gosh, I clicked the wrong thing, but it's not. It's the same show, and it's just crazy, so you have to watch it.
Yeah. Also, if we were talking about timely relevant stuff, 2 books that I've read that have to do with, like, plague stuff. The Stand by Stephen King, which came out in, like, the 70s, I think. It's a super old book, and the concept is that a disease, genetically modified disease, like a war disease that they wanted to use for, like, warfare, gets out of one of the facilities and starts infecting people, and people just, like, start getting super hot and overheated and, like, kind of exploding, but not. Like, it's a weird fever. like it's just like a weird disease that was created by the government, and, like, it gets out of this containment camp and starts spreading, and, like, society just dissolves into nothing, and then eventually there are like two groups of people that have superpowers that are like trying to take control over society and like how they want to rule and like govern. And it's just like typical Stephen King, but like if you're looking for end of the world, apocalyptic kind of stories, that's a good.
I'm
that's a
picturing.
good one.
I'm picturing True Blood when they die and their body just like melts.
I just remember reading like, because that book is also thick. Like Stephen King books are just bricks of books,
Huge.
and it's such a big book. And I was reading like the first 100 pages, being like, these people are not like, these families are not just like exploding in their cars. Like they're not just like dying in cafes and just
They
like
are.
it was intense.
That sounds really fun.
But also on a lighter note,
Lighter than people exploding?
the Origin series by Jennifer L. Armentrout got very, very, very close to real life, that she had to stop writing those books during COVID. Like, she was like, the next book was meant to come out. It's not. I'm pushing it back. Like, all things considered, I'm not writing more. Like, the last book is coming out and that's it. Like, this is not continuing. And I'm like, how did we get
She's
here?
a
Like, how did
prophet.
we get
Yeah.
to real life, crossing over into, like, an alien story?
How
like, I
weird
don't
for her
even know.
too. Like you're writing this book and you're like, this is so crazy, it'll never happen, and then it does.
Yes.
It turns out that you're actually that one guy in Supernatural that's writing the comics.
Oh my god, I love him.
Chuck.
You're Chuck.
Yeah,
Oh my
Chuck
God.
is the
And
best.
the Lust
Oh my
series
gosh.
prior to that was a bit apocalyptic too, because when all the aliens like come
Yeah.
down, they like get everybody. And that reminds me of the book The Host. Did you guys read that one by Stephanie Meyer?
I have that on my list.
I loved that
I-
book. I wanted more. I thought it was.
I was
gonna
gonna
be
say-
a series, and it wasn't.
I think
I know.
watched the movie. I don't think I read the book.
The movie's not great.
No.
I
the
feel
movie's
like
not
I
good.
probably went, I don't think I'm going to read
It's
any
really
more Stephanie
slow,
Meyer's.
and I actually don't really understand why I like it, but I love that book.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the
I
time,
think it's
it
Ian.
hit.
I'm in love with Ian.
It hit. She's got like an alien. They're like body snatcher aliens. So they like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do, I guess, kind of sort of what Lux did, right? Where they like come inside your body. But then in the main girl in this one, she like fought it kind of. So then it was like she was still there and the alien was in there.
Yeah. These aliens come down and they like take over our planet by inhabiting the bodies. And since people didn't know it was coming, like they just, you know, the aliens came into their bodies and like they didn't put up a fight because they didn't know what was happening. And but then like
Yeah. Isn't that kind of like the fifth wave? Like in the beginning of the fifth wave, that's what happens.
kind of, yeah, if I'm remembering right.
Like there's in the book, right? There's like a prologue in the beginning where all of these babies are like sleeping.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, like, things get into them. Is that
God,
the fifth
it's
wave?
been a long time.
I don't know.
But then, you know, like once people are aware of what's going on, there's like a resistance and people try to fight it. And then one of those girls is Melanie, and an alien, something happens, an alien gets into her body and she's trying to fight.
Don't they like
the alien
get her? Don't they like
Yeah.
get her and then they stick one in her? Isn't that what happens? Or it just
Yeah.
happened? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
In the beginning of the book, she tries to save her brother by sacrificing herself.
Yes, that's what it is.
And she gets caught. They stick an alien in her, and then yeah.
But then
And
like
it's crazy
so much
'cause-
of the book, it's like her and the alien are interacting like inside.
yeah, they
of
have
her
like
own
mental
brain.
conversations. I don't know why they thought making a movie out of that
No,
was a
that's
good
the worst
idea.
Because it's just like one body and two people.
Half of
inside
the
it.
book happens internally, but
Yeah. But then they both fall in love with two different people. So the girl whose actual body it
And
is
they're in the
falls
same
love with the
body.
guy, but then the alien that's inside of her.
Okay, so
falls
that's
in
fun
love
though.
That's weird. I don't like that.
Loretta and I are like, yes, please.
No,
I know, I love
I'm
it.
like, I would like more of that, please.
Yeah.
I need you to fall in love with everyone.
There's
and
an
then fight
enemies
it
to
out.
lovers
No,
thing.
but so then
and
it's
I
like,
love it.
so then it's like a triangle because the other guy's like, no, I like her.
It's like a weird
but
triangle
he's like,
with
no, I like the alien
Yeah.
inside. Like, with it's like the same body.
But it's weird too because the alien inside her feels all of her emotions, so she's in love with the guy Melanie's in love with too.
Yeah.
So like it's weird because I don't know, it's such a weird book. I don't
Yeah.
even understand why I
Well,
love
the
it.
alien at the end gets her own body, so you know,
Spoiler, yeah.
spoiler. but
it works out.
It works
but
out.
yeah, I love that book.
It works out in the
I have a book that I'm dying to talk about.
All right, Laura.
Go.
It's called Praying for Rain by B.B. Easton.
I bought it.
I know.
It was on sale, so
I
bought
need you
it.
to read it and tell me how to feel about it. Because I don't know.
Okay. If you'll read these hollow vows, I will.
I will, yeah. So it's called Praying for Rain by B.B. Easton. I found it scrolling on Pinterest, and it was an ad for a book that came up, and I was like, this cover's cool. Let me look. And then it was like $1, so I bought it, and I read it, and it's an actual apocalyptic romance. Like, the world is falling apart around these two people while they're falling in love. It's so weird.
I love it.
But the premise is cool, and like some of the plot is cool, but the book is just so crazy. The idea is that everyone on Earth starts having the same exact dream at the same time, and they start dreaming that the world is going to end on like April 24th or something. And everyone's having the same dream, and because of that, everyone starts freaking the fuck out. And the closer they get to that date, people just start going crazy. They're like, the world's ending, I don't give a fuck anymore, I'm gonna do whatever I want. There's like orgies in the library. People are like looting places. It opens up with her, and she goes to like McDonald's or something, and she takes out a pill, one of her medications to take, and people go nuts. They're like, she has pills, and they like attack her for it. I was like, what is this book? Oh my god.
Also,
and
chicken nuggets.
I know. Go crazy over those. And then somehow she needs to like get something at the store, but like the store is being controlled by these guys. I don't know. It's so weird. And then she meets this guy while she's there, and they decide to stick together, and I can't remember why, but they start falling in love. Like 2 hours goes by, and they're like, wow, we're in love. And I'm like, what?
I'll be honest, if it was the end of the world, I would fall in love in 2 hours anyway, but I'm a
yeah,
Libra, so
I mean, if
there you
he's hot, so I get it.
If he was hot, I'm in love. It's the end of the world.
And they decide to like figure out what's going on together, and then there's a twist at the end, which I actually kind of liked, but I was like, what is going on? I don't understand how I'm supposed to feel about this. There's an orgy in the library. Why?
Okay.
Honestly, it seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The chaos seems like it's very end of the world vibes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if there was an end of the world, that's probably how it's gonna happen.
It was so nuts. So someone read it and tell me how to feel about it.
Like, that's what I've never watched any of the Purge movies, but that's what like if the Purge really happened, all these people are like, okay, I'm just gonna go murder a bunch of people because I feel like it. But in reality, like, wouldn't you just want to, like, go have an orgy in public? Like, that seems way more...
Yeah.
Maybe it's the lover and not the fighter in me, but...
Yeah,
I mean,
if I had to choose
I don't
between orgy or murder, I think it's, like, pretty...
Right, like, I'd probably...
Pretty easy answer
pick
there.
the sex part. I'd be like, okay, you guys go do your crimes over there. We're gonna, like, have a sex party instead.
See, but then you wouldn't be able to do it in public, because then all of the people
They'd
who
be
are
trying
like...
to murder you while you're naked.
Yeah, and then you're kind of vulnerable if you're, like, doggy style in the middle
fucking
of the
suck,
road.
guys.
Someone can come
That
up
would make
to
you
really
vulnerable.
quick.
There's like an Eiffel Tower happening, and it's not going well.
You're just walking down the street.
They just like push you over.
Yeah, it seems a little unsafe.
Speaking of weird random stuff, though, did you guys have to read Animal Farm in school? Because
Yes.
we had to read Animal Farm,
No.
Yes.
and it was like the main
I feel like we
point
should
of, like,
have, but...
the
I had to read Lord of the
allegory
Flies.
I
of
refused
like
to read
I
it.
read Lord of the Flies too, but Animal Farm is weird. Like, I understand why we need to read it, and it's a weird book where the animals talk and riot against the farmers, and
I know, I couldn't.
I get allegory, but it was
I couldn't.
I don't
So
know, guys.
I was supposed to read that freshman year English, and we had like a whole like section on it or whatever, a whole thing where there was like papers and tests and everything. And I just didn't read it. And then based on all the like class discussions, I like passed all my papers and my tests because I was like, you guys have just explained
Nice.
the whole damn book to me, and like I have no interest in reading this, so no, thank you. I did that a lot in school. I picked and choose. So I was
I
like,
did that too.
I'm not reading this, but I can still write a
think
paper
it's
on it. I
Great
can get
that
it.
you didn't pollute your mind with crap you didn't want.
Yeah, I didn't
Animal
want
Farm
that.
was
Yeah.
wild.
I didn't want Huckleberry Finn. I didn't want freaking...
Didn't read that either.
Scarlet
Lord of the
Letter.
Flies is a good one, though. I
did
still,
read
to
that,
this day, love Lord of the Flies, even though, again, it's, like, wild and chaotic and
I accidentally watched the movie to
trippy.
that and was so traumatized that I was like, I cannot read that book. I was so traumatized when they like murder that kid. No, I couldn't. It was too sad.
I have to admit to reading a book voluntarily, not because somebody made me, and I read Atlas Shrugged of my own accord because somebody told me it was good, and I was like, okay, well, I'll read it. And I sat there and read
It's thick.
all of an Ayn Rand book, which is just a really poor decision, honestly.
We just
but,
offloaded all of our Ayn Rand books. We were like, no.
you know, I got rid of it. It's stuck in my head, and now as an adult, I can be like, well, I mean, I was an adult at the time I read it, but I was like 21, and I was like, I'm gonna read Crime and Punishment, and which is actually a really good book, so you should read Crime and Punishment. But like, yeah, I read Atlas Shrugs, and I was like, this is so great, blah blah blah, and then I kind of started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, that was shitty. Let's not read any more Ayn Rand. I did want to like volunteer not a book, but a game that is a dystopian game. And I have not started playing it yet, but I got it and I'm so excited because it's like Stardew Valley, but not Stardew Valley. It's called Littlewood and it's a town building game, so you don't have to do all the farming of Stardew Valley.
Thank
But
God.
the world has already been saved by you. But you've forgotten all of your memories and you're waking up after you saved the world and you've got to rebuild your town along with the hearts of those around you. So it's a big
sounds
world
like everything
with
I
enchanted
love.
forests, bustling fishing towns, mining caves, and you have to meet all the townspeople and convince them to stay, and meeting them might unlock your memories. And you can fall in love and get married with these people because obviously that's a Jessica thing that I would like to do. So
That's
it's like
a Loretta
Stardew,
thing
but
too. I want this game.
it's a post-apocalyptic, post-dystopian situation where you're rebuilding your town.
Yeah.
So you can get that on Steam or on Switch. Yeah.
I'm here for it. I like it.
Honestly, the farming is why I don't play Stardew Valley, because I'm just not into it. I'm like, I don't want to take care of crops.
I've got to say, I'm really deep into a Stardew Valley right now, and as deep as I can. I made it past one whole year, so I'm into the second year, which is not that far really, but for me it is. And I just built a bunch of sprinklers, and they just take care of themselves now. So
see, I need to do that. I don't know. I didn't.
But
get that
I
far.
also have like 4 boyfriends, and I'm gonna have to choose. I'm romancing every single player until I decide who I want.
Doesn't Stardew Valley let you have a reverse harem?
You can't marry them all, but you can be boyfriend, girlfriend with them all.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm going to try, so we'll see if I get yelled at. But there's like a lot of really dark storylines in Stardew Valley. And so, yeah, it's everything I need in, task management farming game. And then I also get to like romance a bunch of emo boys with like broken pasts and messed up families.
We love it.
They've got these seriously tragic backstories, and I'm like, yes, you're a writer on the beach in a shack. Sign me up. Oh my gosh. A skateboarder boy who is a punk rock, like plays the guitar. Yes. There's an emo gamer who is in his basement all the time with MCR on his head. Like, I'm here for it. Yeah, it's
Stardew Valley knows what we want.
It's really hits you in the feels.
Well, if you want to go the Devon route and play something a little bit scarier, you can also play Little Nightmares, because
I bought that game and I'm scared to play it.
that game messed me up. Like, it's crazy, and I will die on the hill that it's a dystopia game just because of the things that you like pass by and like what's going on, but it's scary. At least it was scary for me, and I still enjoyed it. Also, have you guys seen the movie Soylent Green? Yes or no? It's a super old movie.
No.
Nope.
It's also a book, which I just found out when I was doing my research, but the concept of the movie is that the world is overpopulated, and there's not enough food to feed everybody, and so most of the population is just, like, hungry all the time, and they're trying to figure out what to feed them, and so everybody eats this thing called Soylent Green. And there's a detective who's trying to solve, like, these murder cases, and it leads him down this hole, and he finds out what Soylent Green is, and there's a famous line for this movie, and I'm not going to spoil it in case anybody wants to go watch it, or in case you're interested, but, like, I don't know why it sticks in my mind, and I'm like, this movie is so trippy and messed up, but it's so good, and even it's like really old. I think Charleston Heston is in that movie, I want to say.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. But I want to read the book too, because it was one of those dystopian movies where you feel uncomfortable, but it was still like good, and you're like, wow, I
Yeah.
feel icky, but what? Like, and I still remember it to this day, even though I probably watched it when I was like 14, 15, I don't know. But I highly recommend that movie, even if it is really old, and now I'm gonna go read the book, but
I'm intrigued.
I thought one of you guys would have watched it, but Soylent Green. Don't look up the plot twist. Don't look up anything. Just go and watch
Go
it,
in blind.
because you will spoil it. Yeah. Go in blind, and you just be like, what did I just watch? Like, what is this? Also, Mad Max, Loretta. We can talk about
Yes! Oh my god, I love Mad Max.
I need to rewatch that because the time that I watched it, I was like, I am not into this. But
I watched
do
it
need to just
reversed.
revisit.
I watched it, I went and saw the new one with Charlize Theron. And
That's the only thing I've seen.
And I loved it so much. I was like,
I
this
did not.
movie's great! And then
I love that movie too. It's so good.
I was in the theater alone. And I was screaming. I was like, yeah!
Oh my god, I gotta see it then.
My issue is they literally get all the way across and then just turn around. There's no plot. They get all the way there,
yeah.
and then they're like, let's just turn around. And that's it. And that's the whole thing. And so I was like, I appreciate the cinematics, the music, what's happening, but there was no plot to that movie.
I felt so much girl power vibes watching that movie. They're like the girls, and they're breaking away, and they're escaping.
I need to watch it again, is what I'm saying.
And it's a whole series. Like, apparently the franchise is like past that one movie that I've seen.
Okay.
Like, there's more to it.
Oh yeah, well that's what. So I watched the newer one with Charlize Theron,
Road.
and then I was like, "This movie's great." And then I went backwards, and I went and started from the beginning. And like the first one's kind of weird because it's from like 1980. I don't know, I can't even remember. And it's like Mel Gibson, so that's an ick factor.
Yeah.
But then the Thunderdome one is that, I think that's the second one or maybe the third one, but that one's really good, and Tina Turner's in it, and I loved it. So
Okay. I'll revisit your Mad Max situations when I get a minute.
the earlier ones I didn't love as much, but they're
Yeah.
still really fun to watch.
I also have another like sci-fi-ish book series that I haven't finished yet, so I don't know how it ends, but it's called This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada, which
I
is
saw those.
kind of sci-fi, kind of apocalyptic, kind of like all of the things, but there's a plague that's raging the world, and they're trying to use like gene splicing or gene hacking to save the population, and the main girl has some type of skill and hidden memories that she's trying to figure out that were left to her by like some scientist dude, and it's like all kinds of different weird sci-fi dystopian apocalyptic vibes going on, but I haven't finished the series. I think there's only 3 books, but I read the first one, and I have the second one, but I haven't read it. But the first one was good.
I have the first one because I remember you talking about it a while ago. I got it off of the book outlet, and then I haven't picked it up yet because there's a million books to read.
Yeah, and the covers are really cute. And Ready Player One is also really good.
I love
It's
that
like
book so much.
Me too.
I think that I have it, but I haven't read it, and I need to.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this one is like a little bit of both apocalypse and dystopia, just because of the way like the world is set up.
It
but
felt like,
I don't really know. I know it's sci-fi technically, but it's not really. I don't know. I love that book, so I'm throwing.
I
it
put it
into
on my list because it felt like it should be there.
It's
but
definitely dystopian. I don't know if it's apocalyptic.
Yeah, I don't know if there was like. I just remember they live in a world where like everybody's crammed into like trailers
And
that
they're,
are
like,
all stacked
yeah.
because there's no space
Yeah.
and nobody has a lot of food and there's not a lot of resources going on.
it felt like it could be
but
real.
I didn't really know. They don't go into detail like how they got there.
He did lose me a little bit during that part where like he remember the part where he like hoards himself into his apartment. What's the main character's name?
Wade.
Wade hoards himself into his apartment because he's like trying to get better at the game, and then he like there's a part where he like orders a sex doll or something, and then he's like, oh, I tried that out, and it did, yeah, that was weird, and I don't know, but it was like this is a weird part of the book.
I need to read that. Okay, so I think, Dev, you have a really fun game for us today.
Yes. Oh, before we go into our game, also everybody read Fake Guardians. That's all.
Oh yeah, definitely read that.
That's also post-apocalyptic.
It's post-apocalyptic, and
also,
everyone needs to read it.
I wanted to shout out that Kiss of Deception and Dance of Thieves is technically post-apocalyptic, and I'm still mind blown about that fact. So.
Yeah, that one is more subtle. It's more just like world building than anything.
It has nothing really to do with the plot.
So you just hear about the old world and the technology, and you're like, holy shit, this is what?
And then like in Dance of Thieves or something, they pass by something that's like an old car, but it's like a new car to us. And I was like, oh my god.
This is so subtly done. I love it.
So going into our game for today, I thought it would be fun to see if everyone would survive the end of the world.
No.
And how are we going to do this? We are going to play a BuzzFeed game, which is, if you can make it through this quiz, you might just survive the apocalypse.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so
we work as a team, right?
Yeah.
We'll all do it. I'll
die on my own.
I'll read the instructions. So this is, the world is on fire. Okay. After missiles rained from the sky through the night, you woke up to the city in ruin. You hid in the apartment for several days, but you are nearly out of food and out of water. Your building is now abandoned, but as your neighbors left yesterday, they told you they'd heard rumors about a camp of survivors a 3 days walk up north. Your best bet is to leave the city in the morning and make your way through the wilderness to find this settlement, okay? So, you're leaving your apartment, you're almost out of food and water, you're going up north to this camp, that's all you know. 3 days walk away. This is how you play. You start off with 150 survival points. Okay. Every decision you make in the wild costs varying amounts of time and energy and will therefore subtract from these points. The items in your survival pack are irreplaceable and more costly to use. If you reach 0 survival points, you die. If you make one wrong decision, you die. So, first off, we'll pick a pack. We get 150 points, right? Okay. So I'll read off the question and then your options and tell you how many survival points are deducted for each option that you get.
I'm getting a calculator out because I'm bad at math.
You start with 150. So your first question. You need to get up north. How do you navigate your way? So the options are, you use the last of your phone battery, which is minus 25 points. You navigate using the stars, which is minus 5. You follow the direction of moss, which is minus 5, or you put a stick in the ground and track its shadow, which is minus 10. And remember, you can literally die on this first question for picking the wrong choice. So
I am personally going with stars, but that's up to you guys. I would never use the last of my phone battery.
We have to pick together.
Yeah, you guys got to make
that's my vote.
Choice.
My vote
between
is stars
and stick, but I feel less confident in the star things. I feel like
I feel less confident in the stick thing because when the sun moves across, you have to be tracking the sun as well as the shadow on the stick to make sure.
Yeah, but remember that in the beginning it says your best bet is to leave in the morning.
Oh yeah.
You're leaving the city in the morning.
Stars then, Jessica. Because there's no stars.
Oh yeah, that's the other part.
I was gonna say I'm torn between. Torn between moss and stick, but yeah, stick.
I was like, what if there isn't moss? Then we're fucked.
But also, like, what else would you use your phone battery for? Like, what?
I don't know what I'm gonna use my phone. I don't know what I'm gonna use my phone battery for. But I also, if it's really a post-apocalyptic world, then I don't really trust my phone.
Yeah, I want to do the stick.
Okay, yeah, so stick or moss.
Points? I'm going stick.
Stick in the ground is minus 10. Is that what everyone's choosing?
Yeah.
Stick in the ground?
I'll go with stick.
All right, stick in the ground it is. Let's see if we die.
Dead.
No, all right. So minus 10, we're on to the next question. We haven't died yet.
We're at 140 points. I'm keeping a calculator.
Okay, it's midday and your mouth is dry. You can only survive 3 days without water, so this is a high priority. How do you quench your thirst? Do you use your supplies, which is minus 25? Do you sip from a stagnant pond, which is minus 5? Or do you drink from a flowing stream, which is minus 5?
Flowing stream for me. Never a stagnant pond.
Stream. Never the pond.
Yeah, never the stagnant pond. Do you want to die right this second? No.
Okay, that was just for your calculator. That was minus 5. We got to the next question. Okay. Do you want to attempt to fish or play it safe and use your supplies? Use your supplies is minus 25 and fish is minus 10. And it's just attempting to fish, so I personally don't see how you would die with just attempting to fish.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to cook this fish, right? Like, we're not going to just...
Assuming. This is just like, do you want to use what you have or do you want to try and fish?
I think we might as well try to fish, right? Because if we succeed at fishing, then we know we can do it again.
Right. No, I agree. Let's do the fishing.
Yeah, I'm down for fishing.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna pick fish, and that's minus 10 points. Okay, the next question. You spent 10 survival points on fishing. The fish are plentiful and slow moving. How do you catch one? So now you're attempting to fish. This is how we're gonna do it. Do you build a trap out of rocks? Do you stand in a shallow area and try to catch one with your hands? Do you stab at one with a sharpened stake? Or do you create a makeshift hook out of wood and sinew?
Steak. Stab them. They're slow moving.
Yeah.
Plentiful and slow
There's
moving,
a bunch
yeah.
of them. We're going to go spearfishing, folks.
Democracy, are we all, is it
Everybody good with
stabbing
that?
them with the stake?
I don't
All
think
right,
a trap out of rocks is ever going to work in that situation, but okay.
All right, stab one. Okay, on to the, also that didn't cost any points apparently, so we're still at the same amount.
Nice.
Spearfishing's cheap.
All right, wow, that actually worked. But now the sun is setting fast. You should find shelter before it gets too dark. Are you going to use something for your supplies, which is minus 25? Create a lean-to facing fallen branches, which is minus 15. Use a cave, which is minus 5. Or take refuge in a rocky outcrop on the bank of the stream, which is minus 5.
I hate all of these options.
I have rocky outcrop on, well, the stream, that's where people are, like, animals are going to go to get water, but also a cave is never a good idea, guys.
Yeah, not
Just,
the
like,
cave.
Yeah, that seems
ever.
not smart.
Only bad things happen in caves. I've read a lot of fantasy.
So our options were use something from our supplies, make
Yes.
a lean-to.
Using fallen branches. We're just crossing out cave right now.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
the third option is take refuge in a rocky outcrop on the bank of the stream. I don't think that's the right option.
Yeah, the stream is worrying me because of the animals drink from streams, and that's the most likely place that people are going to go.
I'm leaning towards supplies, but
Me
I don't
too.
know
And
what
That's what I'm
supplies we
thinking.
have.
I don't know what supplies we have, but also, I mean, what from your supplies would you have taken that would have given you good enough shelter? Like a sheet? Did you have a tent? Even then, is that a good
Yeah.
idea? Because people are obviously going to see that tent and be like, hey, look, there's somebody to steal stuff from.
Yeah.
Cave?
Maybe a lean-to?
I mean, I watch Alone, and all they do is like build
Make
their
lean-tos,
shelters out of things in the wilderness. So like, I feel like it's possible to do it with fallen branches.
And you can camouflage yourself better in that,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Okay,
let's
lean
do
to
that.
it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe lean-to.
Lean-to.
Okay.
This one is minus 15. Let's see if
Okay.
we make it. All right. We're on to the next one. We haven't died
Woo.
yet.
And we saved
Okay.
10 points.
You've settled into your shelter, but now you need a fire. Which one of these can you use to start it? So you use something from your supplies, which is minus 25. Pull 2 sticks from a tree and rub them together,
Never.
which is minus 5.
Does not work.
Create a spark using rocks, which is minus 5. Or make a bow drill, which is minus 15.
The rocks.
First of all, I feel like a fire is a bad idea
Yeah.
because in every movie I watch, they're like, that's how the animals find you.
We need a lean-to from sticks. Why don't we just light our lean-to on fire? Good lord.
I think the bow drill is the one where it's like the stick with the tightened string, right? And you
Yeah.
like rub it.
Oh.
But I'm not 100% sure.
I can make sparks with rocks. I have never been able to get 2 sticks to rub together for fire.
Yeah.
But the bow drill, I think, is a better version of that.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't do that in real life, but I'm down to say that I
If you
can.
want to say bow drill, we'll use bow drill. This might have, if we're really making it, what is our own supplies? Is it the same as bow drill price wise?
No, using your own supplies is minus 25, and a
Yeah.
bow drill is minus 15.
What are the rocks?
Create a spark using rocks is minus 5.
We have 110 points left. And so it's between 5 or 15 points that we use for this.
Yeah, I don't think we should do the sparks
We've been
or
getting
the rubbing.
by pretty cheap.
Not the 2 sticks and not the rocks. You're doing bow
Yeah.
drill or supplies. So minus 15 or minus 25.
Bow drill?
Bow drill.
All right, bow drill.
All right, let's see if it works.
Okay.
All right, we're going on. Apparently, we know how to make a bow drill with no experience.
Oh, great. How good
We're
for
going
us.
on. We haven't done yet.
We know how to make a lean-to.
Honestly, I feel like between all of us, we read enough books to know how to kind of do all of these things. So, all
That's true.
We're like, we
right,
got it.
you're settled into your shelter.
I saw the Hunger Games that one time.
Yeah.
Okay, you're settled into your shelter and drift off next to a crackling fire. Congratulations, you made it through the first day. When you wake, you're very thirsty. Do you Use your supplies, -25, or there are vines nearby. Try to drink from them, -10.
A vine is not going to give you enough.
Also, like, aren't you by a stream? Like, didn't we
just get the stream thing?
That's what I was just gonna say.
Oh, those are the only 2 options.
Why didn't I grab water when I was in the stream?
Well, maybe we did. Maybe that's part of the supplies.
That's true.
There's only 2. So we use your supplies, which is -25, or there are vines nearby. Try to drink from them.
I feel like we have to do
Yeah,
supplies,
how do you
right?
drink from a
Yeah,
vine?
it's just that we're only on day 2 of this thing, and it takes 3 days to
Yes.
get there, and we're at 95 points.
All right, use your supplies. Is that what we're going with?
I think so.
We've got to.
All right,
I
use your
guess.
supplies.
This
All right,
sucks.
that's -25.
We've only got 70 points left for 2 days, guys.
All right, you've quenched your thirst. As you're walking, you fall and cut yourself. How do you treat your wounds?
What the hell?
Okay, you use your first aid kit from your supplies. You apply pine sap, which is -10. You rub away the blood with the corner of your shirt, which is -5. Or you leave it exposed, which is -5. I mean, how
Pine sap?
big is the cut? Like,
Pine
if it's
sap.
not
Yeah.
big,
Yeah.
I know.
then...
Also, you're not going to die of an infection in 2 days, so.
That's true.
I'd probably just wipe it away with my sleeve and go about my day.
Yeah, I probably would too, honestly.
Well, that's why. If it's like a scrape, then, like, obviously I'm just going
if
to
I
be like...
don't need
bye,
stitches,
but-
then.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Okay, so just 5
we're rubbing
points.
it away with the corner of our shirt, or we're applying pine
Yeah.
sap, which I don't know what pine
I
sap
don't.
does.
I don't. Oh my God, I don't think I want to apply anything
Yeah.
from that I don't know what it does.
All right, so we're
Right.
rubbing the blood away with the corner of our shirt.
I think so.
Lord.
Or just
yeah, I
leaving it
guess.
exposed. I mean.
That sounds exposed. Sounds like we're making a bad choice.
They're both -5, so
Okay.
you can either leave it exposed for -5.
I don't know. Rubbing your shirt though, like your shirt could be dirty.
That's what
and
my
that makes me
concern
more
is.
nervous.
So shirt is -5, leave it exposed is -5. So we can do either of them.
I would probably just put water on it, but that's not an option.
Yeah, me too. Well, we need to drink that water.
Yeah.
I think my vote is leave it exposed.
Leave it exposed. All right, I'm clicking it. That's -5.
Oh God, I hope they didn't kill us.
Nope, your wounds got infected and you die.
You don't die of an infection in 2 days.
It's important to keep your wounds clean and clear from the infection, especially out in the wilderness.
No shit.
Dirty clothes can introduce foreign bodies and bacteria to a wound, as can leave it exposed to the wilderness. Pine sap, however, is a natural antiseptic. So now we know pine sap is the way to go.
All right.
Fuck you, BuzzFeed.
You don't die in 2 days.
Oh my God.
I just have to say that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we
You
made
definitely
it to day 2, so
That was fun.
I mean, we got halfway there.
Whatever. Pine
We
sap
slept in
my
the
ass.
wilderness
Yeah, that was
successfully.
pretty good. We just had to fall and cut ourselves and instantly die of infection.
That's a fast-moving infection.
Yeah.
You know, PETA like bled out for 3 days and he was fine.
know.
So I don't understand.
Right, he literally was like beaten to death and then rubbed dirt all over his wounds.
He
and
rolled
was
around in the
fine.
dirt, camouflaged as a rock for like 3 days. I mean, come on.
I call bullshit.
Who do we need to talk to at BuzzFeed? They need to update this quiz.
We're the real survivalists.
Seriously.
Well,
Obviously.
we made it pretty far, but we ended up dying, so it's fine. That's
Womp
that's
womp.
the end of this episode.
I'm not shocked, honestly.
No one's surprised.
We'll link the BuzzFeed article in this episode description, so that way everybody can play along and see if they can get farther than we did, since we didn't know pine sap is a natural antiseptic, but like now we do, so it's fine.
Learn something new.
But yeah, we hope you enjoyed all of our dystopian apocalyptic recommendations, and you can find us on social at Emo Girls Guide on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. So come hang out with us. And may your day be blessed with main character energy.
Main character energy.
It's really bullshit that killed us.
We were robbed.
We were.